Hi everyone, wave season is almost here and it's the best time to start planning your dream cruises for 2025 and 2026. There's so many amazing deals coming up in January and you've probably started seeing some of them a bit early. Whether you're new to cruising or a seasoned pro, I have 25 tips to help you choose the perfect cruise, save some money, and have an unforgettable trip. So let's go. Not all cruise lines are the same. Cruise lines vary widely. Some are great for families, others luxury focused, and some cater to adventurous travelers. Some cruise lines are better for solo travelers, and others are better for multi-generational families. Choosing the right cruise is all about matching what the cruise line offers to your travel style and your interests. With a variety of options available from mega ships with Broadway-style entertainment to intimate vessels focused on immersive experiences, there's a cruise line tailored for every type of traveler and for all ages. For those looking for family fun, Royal Caribbean and Disney stand out. Royal Caribbean appeals to adventure seekers and multi-generational families with its onboard activities like zip lining, rock climbing, and even surf simulators, while Disney delivers magical experiences tailored to Disney enthusiasts, families with younger kids, and has themed entertainment, character interactions, and family-friendly dining. For those craving sophistication and cultural enrichment, Azamara and Viking excel with their focus on smaller ships under 1,000 guests, destination-focused itineraries, and immersive excursions. Viking is perfect for mature travelers who prioritize history, culture, and scenic river and ocean voyages, and is for adults only 18 years of age and older. Azamara requires at least one person in the room to be 21 years of age or older. Azamara's intimate ships cater to those looking for longer port stays and unique local experiences. If luxury is your goal, cruise lines such as Silver Sea, Seabourn, and Regent Seven Seas offer all-inclusive, personalized experiences with high-end amenities, spacious suites, and world-class service, ideal for those looking for comfort and exclusivity and exotic destinations. For younger cruisers, couples, or those interested in a more laid-back yet trendy atmosphere on board, Norwegian Cruise Lines and Celebrity Cruises are great options. Norwegian's flexible dining and entertainment options suit travelers who love spontaneity, while Celebrity focuses on upscale design, culinary excellence, and modern luxury, attracts style-conscious travelers. Meanwhile, Carnival Cruise Lines appeals to budget-conscious travelers and groups looking for a fun, festive atmosphere with energetic onboard activities and lively entertainment. Whether you're a family, solo adventurer, luxury traveler, or cultural explorer, there's a cruise line suited just for you. Tip number 2, be smart when choosing your cabin. Balcony cabins are the most popular choice, offering fresh air and views, but interior cabins can save you a lot of money. Weigh your options based on budget and your itinerary. For example, a balcony is an amazing choice on scenic cruises like Alaska. If you're traveling with a group, then you probably won't be spending a lot of time in your cabin and you'll be in the public areas instead. So having a balcony may not be important to you. Personally, I don't know if I could cruise without a balcony. My favorite part of my cruise days are being able to open up the door and have fresh air and wind in my hair, sit on the balcony and watch the scenery sail by. Even at night when it's dark out, there's something so peaceful about just hearing the sound of the waves and not seeing much past the lights of the ship. Sometimes you can have a balcony cabin for a great price and even better prices if it's obstructed or partially obstructed. Now keep watch or have your travel agent watch for those deals for you. If you get motion sick, then cabins that are mid-deck and lower decks feel the least motion, and river cruisers may not even feel any motion at all. Tip number 3, always arrive the day before. If you're flying or driving a long distance, always arrive at the port city the day before your cruise departs. Flights get delayed, luggage gets lost, and you don't want to miss the ship. I've arrived the day of without my luggage. I just barely made it to my ship in time, and eventually, 4 days later, my luggage caught up with me and was delivered to the ship. It was super stressful, and I did learn my lesson. I don't think I could travel carry-on only though, but for those who do, my respect. On my Christmas markets river cruise on the Rhine, I actually had to buy a new suitcase to bring home my Christmas ornaments and my cheese from Amsterdam. Now, tip number 4, pack a carry-on for boarding day. Your luggage may not arrive at your cabin until evening or even a few days later, like my example I just shared. So bring the essentials in a carry-on or a backpack. I typically carry on a change of clothes, medications, a phone charger, AirPods, and my AirFly to use my AirPods with the plane's TV system. And tip number 5, take a picture of your luggage. This may sound weird, but if by chance your bags are delayed or misplaced, a photo will make it easier for the crew to locate them quickly for you. Now, tip number 6, put an air tag in your luggage. I always put an air tag in my luggage, and it proved very handy on that cruise last year when my luggage stayed in Toronto and I didn't. I was able to track where my luggage was at all times, and I kept the ship's guest services manager informed. They were able to coordinate the delivery of my suitcase to the next available port, and it was delivered to my room. It worked perfectly. So tip number 7, online check-in is key. When you do an online check-in, you can select your boarding time. Noon or later is ideal. The crowds are smaller and you're more likely to head straight to your cabin. Smaller ships are a bit different. For example, with Viking, your boarding time depends on what cabin type that you've purchased. So make sure that you check with your travel advisor, and if you don't see it on your list, then just make sure to ask what time boarding time is. And if by chance it's Viking, they have it listed on their website as well. Tip number 8, bring your passport. Even if some cruise lines allow you to travel with only your birth certificates, bring your passport. If there's an emergency in a foreign port, you'll need a passport to fly home. And you don't want to run into any problems. It's not worth all the struggle and the stress to try to figure out all of those details when you can simply carry your passport. And make sure that you have at least 6 months left on your passport from your departure date. It's required in many countries, and you don't want to run into any issues at all. Tip number 9, understand the dining room system. Cruise dining can be a challenge, and you can order as much as you want in the main dining room as it's already included in your fare. Do you want another dessert? Do you want to have a little bit of everything? Go for it. On my last cruise, I didn't want to spend extra money on dining, and I found there were plenty of choices to have different food for each meal. And on the last night, I went back for all my favorites. Some higher priced cruise lines are more all-inclusive, which I love, and all meals are included in your purchase price. I prefer this simpler option, to be honest. Even though the cruise costs more money, I didn't have to bother to figure out what food or drinks were or weren't included with my package. Tip number 10, should you buy a drink package? Now, this is a question I often get from my clients, and my advice is to do the math. Drink packages can be worth it if you plan to drink several beverages per day, and that includes alcohol, soda, and specialty coffee and teas. Most cruise lines require all adults in the cabin to be on a drink package of some sort, but you can't just buy one and share it. If you've come across a cruise line that allows this option, let me know below. Now, check with your cruise line or have your travel agent do this for you and see what the options are. And booking when there's great savings in a bundle is often a no-brainer. Even if you don't think you'll drink that many drinks in a day, you'd be surprised how quickly it adds up, as some cruise lines even charge for sparkling water. Most cruise lines let you bring a limited amount of drinks on board as well, so check their policy before assuming what you can bring on board. I've only brought a water or two and some small bottles of alcohol that I was bringing home for souvenirs, not for consuming on board. So drop a comment below and share what your experience has been and what you were limited to bringing on board. I'm curious to know if they limited you bringing, say, 6 bottles of water, or, of course they'll let you bring wine that you buy in port, but some may charge, some may not. Let me know below. Tip 11, bring adapters for outlets. Cabins never have enough outlets, and many older ships have limited plugs, so bring a USB hub, adapters, and a non-surge protector power strip to charge all your devices. Now check your cruise line's restricted list first, as there's new regulations on what can be brought on board, and they vary by cruise line. You don't want your only option for charging your phone and your gear to be confiscated when boarding. Tip number 12, put your phone in airplane mode. Avoid outrageous roaming charges by putting your phone in airplane mode as soon as you leave your home country on your flight. If you need a light data package, buy it before you leave home. It's cheaper than onboard rates. I also use a GlocalMe portable hotspot, and I was able to use this on walking tours as well as on board. It's a good idea to have cell service if you get separated from your tour group, or if you're exploring on your own. You don't want to be a pier runner and literally miss the boat. Tip number 13, gratuities aren't optional. Cruise lines automatically charge daily gratuities to your onboard account. These tips go to the hardworking staff like your room steward and the waiters. I tip extra for exceptional service. On one of my cruises last year, I fell and I injured myself on an excursion. When I got back to the ship, the doctor instructed me to ice my knee. I asked my room steward just once for ice and a baggie every day after that. When I returned to my stateroom, I had fresh ice and a baggie waiting for me. Now that's great service. Tip number 14, money on board. Ships are usually cashless unless you're on a ship that has a casino. They sometimes accept cash. So bring US dollars to use for buying souvenirs in ports and for tips for bus drivers and tour guides in the Caribbean and euros in Europe. And obviously US dollars for Alaska, Canadian dollars for Victoria, or you can probably use your credit card if you're just going to be in port your one day in Victoria during your Alaska cruise. Tip 15, itineraries can change. Weather or unforeseen events can ruin plans. You need to be flexible and just go with the flow as part of your adventure. On a past cruise in 2018 or 2019, I think, I was on a Baltic Sea cruise and the sea was too rough to leave St. Petersburg, Russia. We ended up having to stay in port an extra night and skip Gdansk, Poland. I was sad to miss visiting Poland, but safety first. It just means that I will have to go to visit Poland one day. Tip 16, buy travel insurance. Travel insurance is a must, and I'm not just saying that because I sell it in Canada. Travel insurance covers you for more than trip cancellations, medical emergencies, and lost luggage. Now don't skip it and get stuck with a huge bill. The packages I sell even include a cancel for any reason option. If you're in Canada and you would like a quote, you can message me using the link below for more information, even if you have booked the trip yourself. So tip number 17, longer cruises tend to be quieter. Shorter cruises attract party crowds, while longer itineraries that are more than a week are quieter and they cater to more seasoned travelers. Tip 18, book your excursions early. Popular excursions sell out quickly. Book through the cruise line or a reputable company in advance. Always factor in time to get back to the ship so you don't become a pier runner. I've noticed quite a few videos on YouTube that are all pier runners. As entertaining as that can be, I never want to be the subject of one of those videos. Tip 19, not everything is included. Your fare covers a lot, but specialty dining, drinks, excursions, Wi-Fi, and spa treatments usually cost extra. Tip 20, be patient on embarkation day. It can be hectic. Just smile, breathe, and remember that soon you'll be sipping a drink by the pool. It's worth the wait. I lucked out on my last cruise and it was a breeze. Our ship was the only one in port that day. I'd checked in online, I had my princess medallion around my neck, and I walked straight through, no lineups, scanned my medallion, and kept walking. It's rarely this easy. The cruise prior, I was waiting in line for at least 2 hours. So just be patient. It's worth it. Tip 21. Know what's allowed on board before leaving home. Check your cruise line's rules for prohibited items. Most cruise lines don't allow irons, steamers, certain alcohol, or power strips with surge protection. At the time of filming this, there is still some confusion on the restrictions of some power bars and some multi-plug adapters. It's best to check directly with your cruise line or have your travel agent check for you. Tip 22. Cruise Wi-Fi. It can be slow. If you need consistent internet, consider downloading movies or podcasts before you leave home. Wi-Fi on board is getting better, but it's often slower than on land. Tip 23. Double check dress codes. Most cruise lines have at least one formal night, and sometimes they're themed. So bring an outfit that matches the vibe, or if it doesn't interest you at all, on larger ships you can always skip it and enjoy casual dining instead. Tip 24. Learn about shipboard events. Download the cruise line's app or grab the daily schedule that's usually in your cabin. I like the printed version that some cruise lines still provide. Activities like trivia, live show, and poolside games are easy to miss without planning. If the app isn't working properly and you're looking at the schedule on your TV in your room, take a picture of it with your phone and you can look through it whenever you like. I also take a picture of the printed version from my cabin, so I have the ship's contact details for when I'm off the ship. In case of an emergency, I can find where we're docked or even call the ship. Now, tip 25, pack essentials for port days. Bring sunscreen, water, a hat, and your room card when going ashore. If you're heading to the beach, pack a towel from the ship or bring a microfiber towel from home. They dry fast and they pack up small in your suitcase. I bought one and it comes in various colors and sizes, so everyone can have a different color and not mix them up. There you have it, 25 tips to help you plan your next cruise. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss my future videos. Drop a comment below. What's your top cruise tip? I'd love to hear from you, and until next time, happy sailing, everyone.